Hello, my name is Catool, and I will be your guide for today. Um, I just want to let you know that you shouldn't be taking this dream too seriously, um, because you're gonna die. You're gonna die, um, and you know someday you're gonna have a rotting corpse in the ground and you're gonna be elsewhere. So it's okay. I promise you, um, it's gonna be okay. I really think it's gonna be okay. Okay. So okay. Um, First off, um, number one, this is a dream. Number two, you're going to die. No. So, so what I wanted to say is that just not to people people get so wrapped up in this world, and this is obviously a valid world, otherwise it wouldn't exist. um, there's a lot of chaos that can happen when there's physical things running into each other, um, and that even even all the stories and things that we play out here are largely astrological, astrologically influenced. Just like even a good example in societal terms is when Pluto's squaring Uranus, um, and this big societal things happen every time this occurs. And in the 1700s, it was the American Revolution and the French Revolution, and all this. Um, and then in the 1930s, it was the stock market crash and fascism. And then in the 60s and 70s, when they were conjoining, it was the environmental movement. And now that they're squaring again, there's lots of revolution happening in the world. And this is great, Um, um, it's great. But people get so wrapped up in all of this, and it's perfectly fine. But I'm just, trying to help you realize that this is not the only world that there is. You look at the stars, and there's countless other worlds out there, and people have cut themselves off from that to, to focus on this dream and all the wondrous awakenings that can happen in this dream, which is it's all a part of creation. And there's the point where you realize it's a dream, and that there's more than most people are aware of, in that how much we actually affect the dream, and how we are creating this, because if we weren't completely a part of creation, if we weren't like, we wouldn't, us being self-aware of what is happening, the more aware you become of that you're aware that you're aware that you're aware. It's not, and then it slowly, the your slowly fades away. The we're at the point now where the ego has fully developed itself, and now it's time to come to a more planetary awareness, and that will slowly grow into a solar awareness of the solar system and the galaxy, etc., and further smaller worlds, or perceivably smaller worlds, or perceivably larger worlds. There are so many cycles, universal cycles, or just cycles within the fractal structure of perceived reality that we're not aware of. And the more that we strip ourselves of every little thing that we can get caught up in, and it's fine, I let my character, play out these things. There's a choice, but like, if I can feel there's something inside of me that needs to be felt, that most people don't like to feel, or they like to ignore, I let myself play that out, because it obvious, like, this whole astrological cycle of and the Kali Yuga and the Dark and Light Ages and all this jazz, it obviously has it. You play it out, but there's a point in the dream, and it happens over time. It can, this thing I've had, some pretty intense awakening experiences, and those have really helped me. But when you realize that, like, just like in Avatar, the show, like, I really love that show. It's shown me a lot. When you realize that you can connect to the elements that are creating life like that, and you yourself can bend them, like, for real, and even though you don't think you can, I've already started. I've felt like what telekinesis like feels like, being able to do that. I'm still opening up to all of the fact that because this is a dream, we can affect it in ways that are hardly imaginable to us at this current state of evolution. But the more that we, because if everybody's doing what they're made to do, what they love doing, society is going to restructure itself accordingly, and that's just like mechanics of how things work. So, and it's gonna take however long, but there's so much crazy stuff happening in the world, and the Pluto squaring Uranus and Saturn and Scorpio bringing up all this shit, all this no shit. What I'm saying is that within the dream, you have your own perception of it. You have your own. So, in my previous video, I was talking about moving. When I was contacted by ETs, they're having me move the moon or a star in my reality, and people aren't seeing that in their reality. I can see that because it's my perception of this shared dream. this is a shared dream. It's a we agree upon certain rules of what is allowable, but those rules can be broken. And like Terence McKenna said, if reality is programmed by code, then it can be hacked. So that opens up a whole box of worms right there. So just keep in mind that all of the silly things that can go on inside of us, I'll bet they are you perceive them as real. That's because you make them real. There's levels of illusion. So yeah. And as Bill Hicks said, it's just a ride. It's just a ride. So yeah. I don't like to talk necessarily about all these esoteric things as if they're woo. I'm talking about the actual things that make up things in front of you and me right now. And I'm not trying to be all wooey gooey. This is a dream. Like, because when I've cleared out all this crap inside of me, so when I can get to these really intense states, and I open up to them as much as I can, because I've consciously gone into all of my subconscious stuff to release it, and I know this, I'm aware of this, so I still play those things out because I know that they need to be looked at. There's things I haven't been aware of. Like when my father died, I got all this money from him, and I didn't have any emotional support for this, and I just got all this money shoved in my mouth. I didn't want to be here, and all of this. But when all the money is gone, that was just sitting inside of me, that my father wasn't here. But the fact that I can let go of all of this and have my own personal will within the dream, and I'm opening up to this still, and everything's moving forward in this life, and this world is perfectly valid. I don't want people to get too wrapped up in everything, all this stuff happening in the world. It's great and everything. We're creating a better world, and this is, we're making it what we want it to be, but also to be aware of the larger cycles of creation. But every world is a part of it. So let's take the dream by the balls, and just give it a good squeeze. Just take reality by the balls, because you know what? You are creating your own life here, and although you're gonna die someday, who gives a fuck? Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're here, and it's okay. It's perfectly fine. And I support you in all of the stuff that you feel that you might need to go through. And you can release all of your emotions in front of me. I am completely willing and open and able to hold space for you to be able to do that. And even though I might have thoughts or judgments about someone or any silly thing that somebody's going through, it's, you know, that's still me working shit out inside myself. So I just want you to know that it's perfectly fine, and that any emotions that people deem, you know, heathenistic or whatever, it's okay. Those things are there for a reason. Number one, you've gone through what you've gone through. Talking about destiny and all this, who knows? I think everything is a mix of everything. It's your ability to create your own life, but it's also because you are a intimate part of creation, that everything, you are creation itself. So it's okay. It's okay. And you can make your life what you want it to be. I promise. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Take the dream by the balls and give it a good kick. Okay? And don't be afraid to have the universe, lash back out at you. Because then you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn what you need to learn until you get to the point where you are. And I'll make a video about the bars and stuff. So yeah. So I can help you clear all that shit out. So yeah, that's all for now.